Hey, I'm Hugh Shelton. I'm the lead class designer on Wildstar. I'm here to answer some community questions for the Instant Expert. All right, so we're not really planning on changing how roots work themselves because we have a bunch of different types of CC states. So besides them, we have over 10 other CCs. And you have a lot of ways to play against roots. If you could take cleanses, which will get you out of roots. You could get CC breaks, which will take you out of roots. And if you don't need to take those, you could also even just change what your action set is. So let's say you're a warrior. If you have trouble getting rooted a lot, you should be taking grapple on your barb because then you could be pulling enemies to you and then fighting them right in front of you. For launch, we're definitely not planning on changing how the character statistics work right now. We've gone through a number of iterations through the whole beta process to get them to where they are right now. We wanted to do something a little bit different than the other MMOs have done. That's why I guess it's a little bit more confusing than some of the other games. But we feel like thanks to the scope of the size of a game like Wildstar is, we have so many fans out there that are creating resources for the statistic systems that players are going to be able to read up on that stuff really easily. So the PvP stats give us the opportunity to itemize for both PvP and for PvE separately. That way, if players really only like PvP, they're not forced to go and do those PvE encounters in order to get the best gear for what it is that they like to do. There's so many counters to CCs that are out there that the diminishing returns that we currently have on CCs might be a little bit too harsh. So we're actually working on a new version of our diminishing return system where some CCs will still behave in that same sort of a way where, let's say you get stunned, you'll get stunned, and then for 5 seconds you'll be immune to that stun. And then other CCs, let's say blind for example, instead of it just being one hit and now you're immune for a number of seconds, you can be hit by a number of blinds, and every time you get hit by one, the duration is reduced by a little bit. We did add that throttling system in there just to make sure that there weren't any sort of huge exploits that could be taken advantage of. We may be making it less stringent in the future, so you might be able to open more boom boxes than the current time period down the road. So we use everything that we have available to us to work on balancing. My class team, we spend a lot of time playtesting together. We use metrics that we gather from players actually playing the game to really identify the issues that are real. We do use the forums also, but we don't really take what the forums say at face value. Instead, we look at the forums and it kind of directs us to the issues that could be arising, and then we look into it ourselves through our own playtest, or we look into the metrics to determine if it's a real issue. The mentoring system overall is built so that players can play together. And so for PvP, we do let it happen in battlegrounds and in certain arenas we'll use it. But for those situations, we call it rallying. And what we do is we level characters up to the higher end of the bracket. So let's say there's a battleground bracket from 15 to 29. If you enter in at 15, you'll get rallied up to that 29 level. You won't have all the abilities or all the amp points, but your stats will be filled out and you'll be doing more damage and you'll have more hit points to be able to compete with those other characters. As far as for open world, you're able to mentor with your group, with a member of your group to go down to whatever level there is so that you are able to do that content with them, kind of how you would expect it to work. And then in dungeons, we also allow you to do that in dungeons. And we also even allow players to go through dungeons at whatever level we intend for that dungeon to be. So if it's a level 20 dungeon, even if you're 50, you could play through it as a level 20. So you could it will still be fairly difficult for you and you'll still get rewards for completing it.